I'm glad you asked this because I've long wanted to do a video essay on the role of Christianity in politics. And I didn't just say the role of religion in politics. The United States, anyway, I think Christianity, more than any other religion, has had a role in shaping the electorate, shaping voting patterns and habits, and actually policy in America. It started as a Judeo-Christian nation through its quote-unquote founders, because we all know when they founded this nation, it was already existent with native people who were practicing their own form of indigenous religion and practices and spirituality and the like. So, but anyway, in terms of its foundational, Americanness, it's Judeo-Christian. And quick backstory about my role: I am Christian, Roman Catholic. I didn't always start that way. My mom is Roman Catholic. My dad is Muslim. When my parents got married, they understood that because my dad's religion said that the kids are supposed to take the religion of the father, we were supposed to be raised Muslim. However, he was not a practicing Muslim. And so my mom did not want to raise religionless children. So when my sister was born, she's 3 years younger than me. So I was maybe like 5 or so. My mom said, enough of this. I'm going to at least take them to church until you're ready to practice. So my faith sets as a child was based in Christianity and Christian principles and Christian dogma. And when I was 17, my dad, quote unquote, found Allah, made us go to Arabic school, and learn Arabic and learn the faith. And so you can imagine a 17-year-old to hear now there's 7 levels of hell, 7 levels of heaven, and women can only ascend to level 1. And you had to wear certain clothes because men could wear whatever they want. We had to walk 5 steps backwards, back behind a man. All those things to my 17-year-old self was like, oh my God, I'm resisting. Like, I cannot wait to go to college so I don't have to practice any religion. That's what I did. The minute I stepped foot on my college campus, I abandoned everything. I didn't go to mosque. I didn't go to church. I was just religionless. But that was scary for me because you imagine one of the things about religion, the idea of believing in something, an afterlife, believing in faith, having belief that we're not all just here by ourselves, out of evolution, that it had to be by design. There had to be some sort of grand, and plus that was my faith set. And so after around the time I met my husband, he's Catholic. I went to church with him. At some point, I did the rite of Catholic initiation for adults, and I became formally a Catholic. So that's just my path. But just because my path is rocky and I've studied other faiths and been aware and have friends, I live in the DC metropolitan area. So I live in a very multicultural, cosmopolitan, diverse area with people that practice all sorts of things. Like on one given stretch of highway in this area, you would pass a Sikh, you pass a temple, a mosque, several churches, and just lots of different houses of worship. Try 16th Street in Washington, D.C., for example. There's lots of different houses of worship. Now, the thing about Christianity, why it specifically has been able to, dogmas, it's problematic, is because that Christianity, I think, is unlike any other, is malleable in that folks who want to manipulate others can easily change it. They can change the figures. They can interpret the Bible in a way that makes people feel better about their positions, and it shifts the priorities. So people who practice the prosperity gospel, the evangelicals, and they're the ones that kind of have a chokehold. They're the ones that are easy to sway from Christianity to Christian nationalism, is because their version of the Bible includes that, God wanting you to be well and God wanting you to favor and you do good things, that God will reward you. And it changed Christianity versus from being something that is good for the whole, and the teachings of Jesus Christ about care for others, the poor, the sick, the outsider, and all of those things that are rooted in Christian teaching in the New Testament, to something about individual for you. Like if you do well, so it's individual. So it changes from having a collective and caring for the collective and caring for the whole in terms of, what I mean? And that's the difference. Is like so when I have a Catholic friend who voted for Donald Trump. I know because I saw him at his inauguration. And at some point I was bitching about something on Facebook, and he said, "But you're a good person." And one of my friends came in on my behalf and told him, like, you are trying to say because she's a good person and she does well, that you have empathy for her, but she's complaining about a problem that's systematic and systemic for everyone who looks like her, who's in the same situation: an immigrant, a woman of color, a black person, a marginalized minority in this country. So she's speaking from the pain and from the pain point of everyone else similarly situated. So you cannot just have empathy for her because she is a parent in your child's school and not have sympathy for all of the people. And I think that's it. I was like, okay, this person gets it. And I think it's easy for you to to look at other people as other and otherize other folks and be, turn into this thing and still call yourself Christian because you're practicing this version of Christianity that only looks at the individual and not the collective. They've shifted it so much so that it's kind of like us and them. They, put people in different pockets and stuff like that. And we're all rooted but ourselves. And anyway, naturally people are going to want to, coalesce around folks that like themselves. It's tribalism. You know what I mean? There, people like-minded. Even on social media, I find, like, for example, people gravitate to people who look like them. My readership, my audience, when I look at my analytics, is mainly women, and some platform is mainly women of color. Some platform is just women generally. And though the things that I say, when I see men in my space, we say the exact same thing, but I'm sure in their audience it's full of men. So, and that's it's just how it is. It's hard to change that. People just hard to take messages. It's either take messages from somebody who look like them. That's why allyship is so important. Someone not from your community, from another community, is more likely to resonate and convince other people about something if they look like them, or they can relate to them. And they say, you look like your father, your dad, look like mine. We look like we grew up in a similar situation, home, household. And so I'll listen to you. And so that's why I know a lot of times people of color and Black women complain we can't grow on social media. And that's part of it. It's like people just going to do that. And that's you just gotta, but you can't, because there are a lot of us here as well. So anyway, so I think they call themselves Christian because they are practicing a version of Christianity that does not really like preach, that's twisted a little bit, the versions, and kind of like minimized the basic tenets of Christianity, of the teachings of Jesus Christ. I think in some MAGAs actually today, if Jesus was alive today, in terms of all the stuff they do, they would call him a socialist. They would call him a Rasian liberal, because he is, but that's nothing like what they are. And so it is hard for them to call themselves Christian, but they're doing a version of Christian. And we know the Christianity has several different sectors. Methodists, there's Lutherans, there's African Methodists, Episcopalian, there's, like I said, evangelicals, there's different sects of Christianity. Wherever it goes, and depending on where you go, you can still technically call yourself Christian while actively working to oppress people in this country and tear apart families and remove and root people hardworking who left their nation to come here just like the ancestors of everyone. If you're not an enslaved person or a native person, every single one of the people who are doing these things and saying these things have ancestors who left their home to come to the United States seeking a better life, just like the immigrants that are the newer immigrants that are coming. It's just because the newer immigrants do not resemble them, it's easier for them to demonize them, and it's easier for them to accept the worst of them, because the statistics show that the people that are committing the most crime in the United States are Americans, are people here legally. And immigrants do not commit more crimes. And Donald Trump has already shown that the reason why he and his ICE are rounding up children, deporting children with cancer, going to construction sites where people are working, going to restaurants where people are working, going to communities and trying to get people here in the United States that are just working and actually contributing. They say something like $30 billion or something of recouped taxes, state taxes, federal taxes, sales taxes come from immigrants. So he's actively removing a tax of source of income for the United States. And then it's another thing too, and they're doing jobs that Americans don't want to do. It's not like you remove them and then the America's going to slip in there and do those jobs. It's some sort of bizarre, weird reality that they don't, the whole thing about trying to like punish the other things and say America first. America can't make the things. America's that belief of the manufacturing that America's want to be manufactured is gone. They don't want to make the stuff. They don't want to plant the stuff. Why are you? We have a good thing going on. It's like fixing something that's not broken. Like the system has to be tweaked and stuff. Yes, maybe have a pathway for citizenship or whatever. That's why the people who are given work permits who come here on asylum and they're working, they're contributing to our society. They're helping. They're not hurting. But you're trying to say people are not doing anything but minding their business. Let me go actively remove them. Take this child's mother away and send them away and disrupt families and call yourself Christian, because they've been met and told by the people who want to demonize religion, use religion for their own purpose. These people don't count. And it's okay to discard them and not look at them as human. And the way the Donald Trump administration, Kristi Noem, treat these folks is like they don't see them as human. They're not Christian. They're a bastardized version of Christianity, and they're not Christian at all. The Christian nationalists, which just really is just white supremacists that go to church and listen to a preacher tell them that it's okay that they hate other people. That really is just it. But thanks for letting me have that moment to go on off on religions. I've been wanting to do a religion video essay, and so this is it. It's 10 minutes. If you sat through it, God